Today on Logic Launch, we have Mr. Rachesh Kotak, an expertised finance and tax professional with over 18 years of experience and has worked with Big Four firms. As a member of ICAI and CMA UK, Mr. Kotak actively involved in major projects like VAT and global e-invoicing, also contributed greatly to the industry through his articles and participation as a speaker and panelist at various events. His commitment in providing training to industry bodies and agencies, making him a valuable asset to our community. Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
Sir, I know you are from the corporate world and I am an academician. In my point of view, I think there is a wide gap between the theoretical teaching and its practical application in the corporate sector. I wanted to ask few questions regarding this.
Sure.
So my first question is, this is the era of ChatGPT and artificial intelligence, but still we follow the traditional education system, like memorizing the things, theoretical learning. So how far this skill development programs can bridge the gap?
Right. So there are 2-3 perspectives here that I would want to share. One is that definitely this era is of ChatGPT and all the new technologies on the AI side that is coming up. But one thing that is still very important is the conceptual knowledge that the people should still have.
Okay.
So from that perspective, the education system definitely the way it historically is, it has matured enough to bring some of those aspects where the scope is now changing towards giving that aspect to the students, where they are more focused on the concept study.
So you are emphasizing the conceptual learning.
Because see, the knowledge is not the answer, the technology is not the answer to not having knowledge.
Yeah.
The knowledge is very much required and technology is going to enable the implementation of that knowledge or utilization of that knowledge in a much faster mechanism. So that's how I look at that gap, in terms of the knowledge and the technology. Technology as an enabler, that's definitely something which is required. The second perspective is that one of the key reasons why technology in terms of, the skill development is required today to bridge that gap between the technical knowledge that they get in school and college to becoming job ready is the loss of patience. And why I am saying the loss of patience is as follows. Is that, see, we are growing economy, right? We are growing big time. We have aspirations to become the third growing economy in the world today. Now, every corporate doesn't have that much of time to train the people on a daily basis and, spend that time. So if any skill development program bridges that gap for a corporate,
their opportunities will be high.
Correct. The opportunities will be much faster. And the employability will be faster and our economic contribution will be much faster. So that, is the second perspective there. And the third perspective in terms of that is that it is very important that the new generation, which is very fast in grasping things, they are much faster than some of the older generations in understanding technology, have the right decision on the technology side. And that's where, I believe upskilling courses help. Okay. Because, technology also has a very negative context that we see on an everyday basis. On cybersecurity is one of the side where we keep talking a lot. So it's important that such programs give the right direction on the technology. And then, the utilization of this knowledge that they have in terms of ChatGPT, AI, and all the wider opportunities that are on the technology side will have much more, growth aspects for the students. So it's a great direction from an education perspective. And upskilling, I believe, is the natural course that has to happen from an overall economic perspective also, which is the requirement.
Especially in this scenario.
Correct. The way we are today, it's very, very important.
It's a dynamic work environment.
It's very, very important setup that the students need. And that will give them confidence to perform. I think that's equally very important because at times, the kind of upbringing that students have, is where they don't have a lot of exposure at that age. So this, upskilling programs give them that exposure. So, that in a way builds confidence. They are able to do more and much earlier in life, than, sometimes they struggle otherwise. So equally, that's an important aspect of the upskilling program, that builds that confidence in them, makes them more real time and updated to everything that's happening in the world.
So, second question is adaptability is a key trait in the dynamic modern work environment. So, in your opinion, these skill development programs or skill training will it help the candidates to adapt the working atmosphere in a better way?
Definitely. And I'll tell you, a lot of corporates, one of the fears that most of the people that work in the corporate, even today, is that with the kind of changes that is happening on the technology side, people are worried that I may not have this job, again after a few years when things change. But that's not the truth. Why? Because, upskilling is possible. So the companies are actually looking to upskill their people, give that knowledge, give that time to their people to learn and grow and technology wise. So that, as an organization, you catch up. Because one thing which is very critical is that the knowledge of the business is equally important when you grow on all of these aspects, right? So there is no situation where you just give them upskilling, he will not start knowing the business.
Okay.
So the people know the business. If you just upskill them, they will be able to perform and add value much better from an holistic perspective. So that's very important bridge. We have understood at times when we talk to a lot of corporates, is that knowledge-wise, it is possible to upskill. You have to be adaptable because
learning should be continuous.
Learning should be continuous. I think it's going to be the mantra, as we move forward in as many more times to come. For all you have learned over the years a lot of newer things. I have spent a lot of time to learn a lot of newer things, and maybe this generation will have to be a bit more faster, more adaptable. But that's going to be the key.
Okay, sir. And one more question. I understood skill development is important and it will ensure a better career for the candidate. Now, my question is how it will help his individual growth, that means outside the company, these skill development programs.
So, one of the ways I look at this is that every knowledge adds a perspective, right? So, and what does a perspective do? The perspective changes the approach of a person when he is looking at a challenge or a situation in life. Be it be work scenario where he's skilled and he knows exactly how to deal with at times based on the upskilling he has had, but his approach to problem solving changes. And that's going to be something which I believe, a person, once he learns that skill, his ability to break the problem, solve the problem in a different manner, be it be personal life or professional, is going to change. So every knowledge will add that value, and with that,
both professional and personal.
Correct, because it builds perspective. That knowledge brings a lot of wider aspects and patience. At times, one thing when you see patience helps because you look to step back and see a problem, and that maturity develops, thought process changes, perspective development. All of that happens with all this upskilling and knowledge background. So it definitely is something which will help them on a personal front as well.
Thank you, sir. And your observations will be definitely a guidance for the future professionals. And thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.